So, ladies and gentlemen, that have been stirring up a little bit of shit in recent days, criticizing the New Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame nomination process. And part of it is this. Under their system, you have to have nominees from the public for them to consider it, and then they make a final decision. Most other major leagues, different associations have a different process where you have a media group that puts in people that have either been ignored or forgotten or not put in due to oversight. Now, part of this is this example. When senior baseball in New Brunswick needed a boost in the 1980s, Bill Lee, that great pitcher with the Red Sox and Expos, showed up and played several seasons with the Moncton Mets. He put New Brunswick baseball on the map. It motivated many people to continue to the next level through New Brunswick baseball, including Matt Stairs, Jason Dixon, Real Cormier, a whole bunch of great prospects gone on to college and minor pro and different levels. I believe that Bill Lee, for what he's done for New Brunswick baseball, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. There should be a way to recognize people through direct means, not just like a hero or whatever. Like Wayne Gretzky inspired a lot of the New Brunswick athletes, so did Sidney Crosby, but they're not from New Brunswick. They shouldn't go in there. But Bill Lee made a choice to come to New Brunswick directly and use his skill and his notoriety to promote what was a very good level of ball. It is what it is. But I don't think Bill Lee will get into the New Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame for this reason. The amount of controversy he had in these last seasons in Major League Baseball might discount him in the minds of any Hall of Fame group that's not directly associated with Bill Lee. And I'll give you an example here. I do remember in 1978 when he and Don Zimmer, who was the manager of the Red Sox, were feuding for most of the season because the way Lee felt the pitching staff and his good friends on the team were being used. Now, at the time, Lee thought Zimmer was too old school, wasn't thinking outside the box, and Lee and a few other Red Sox formed what they called at the time the Buffalo Heads as a response to the manager, kind of a clique within a clique. Zimmer, in retaliation, relegated Lee to the bullpen from the starting position. Lee was a great starter. And then management traded, get this, Ferguson Jenkins, and a player I met later on who was evangelist, Bernie Carbo, who was a good quality utility player. Lee was so frustrated, he threatened to retire after Carbo was traded, and he then went to the press and referred to Zimmer as the gerbil. Now, I don't know if Lee had described Zimmer as a gerbil because he had a brain of a gerbil or he looked like one. I think both. And, of course, this proved to be the last straw. Now, Lee left the Red Sox after pitching in a 10-9 home win against California on June 12th. But during the home stretch, when the Red Sox faded in the standings and were battling the Yankees for the pennant, Zimmer refused to pitch Bill Lee, and the Red Sox then lost the pennant in a one-game playoff with the Yankees. Now, Lee was headed out of town, and this is where the connection with New Brunswick comes in, because he fell in love with Canada because of this. He always liked Canada, but he said when he was traded to the Expos, for all people, a very, very poor utility infielder by the name of, get this is a real name, Stan Pappy. He bade farewell to Boston by saying, who wants to be on a team that will go down in history alongside the 64 Phillies, one of the biggest losing streak teams of all time, and the 67 Arabs, who got their ass kicked by all my friends in Israel. Now, in his first season with Montreal, he really ingrained himself to the Maritime and the Quebec baseball fans. He won 16 games for the Expos, and he was named the Sporting News National League Left-Hander of the Year. But in 1980, he got in trouble again. He caused more controversy by saying he used dope, and it landed him on the cover of High Times magazine, and he was also called in the office with Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. Lee said he did not smoke the drug, but just put it on his pancakes, which I think is true in both means. Now, his major league career ended in 1982 when he was released by the Expos after staging a one-game walkout as a protest of Montreal's decision to release second baseman and friend Rodney Scott, Cool Breeze, which I think was his second or third tenure with Montreal. Rodney was a no-hit, but a great stolen base, Maven. Asked by a sports writer if he mind being blackballed, he said, "I'll go down in history with a lot of people who've been blackballed." And but didn't he mind being out of baseball for good? "Oh, I'll never be out of baseball for good. It's my life." But Bill Lee said publicly, and also said to me in a Tommy and Posey show, when I asked him a question about it, I didn't interview him as a sports reporter. I just asked him this. He loved Canada. He loved Montreal and the Maritimes. He loved the bars in Montreal and the different, nightlife. He came to New Brunswick because he heard that the fans in New Brunswick, a lot of them went to the old Olympic Stadium to see him pitch, love baseball. Okay? Now, this is where it comes in. Bill Lee, for what he did by putting the Expos back on the map in relation to a team, because people only really got interested in the Expos, not only because of Gary Carter and Andre Dawson and the other key players. Bill Lee put Montreal on the map, which led to him coming to Brunswick, playing senior ball. So for this reason, and for the impact he's had on motivating journalists like me to look at the more interesting side of baseball, or the spiritual side, which he's talked about these books, and Ken Burns' A Game and stuff, Bill Lee more than deserves to be in the Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame. Okay? Every campaign needs a leader. Okay? Bill Lee came to New Brunswick. We didn't ask him to come here. He came. I don't know who approached who, but he didn't have to come to New Brunswick. Especially southern New Brunswick, because it's more known for hockey than anything else. But in Moncton and the other teams he played against, or teams I've talked to people who played against Bill Lee, and he said, we're in heaven. My God, that's Bill Lee over there with the Red Sox and the Expos, and one of the great left-handers of all time, the Ephus pitch. I mean, if you have to play, imagine it'd be like this. If Gordie Howe retired and come back, didn't play in the WHA, he played in the senior league in Quebec, or senior league in the Maritimes, like the North Shore Hockey League. Anyway, so this is an open challenge to the supporters or the members of the New Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame board. Consider this as the first way to change the motivation of the Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame, to expand your mandate. I gave them an opportunity on Facebook, through their New Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame feed, through one representative, for them to call me and I give this proposal. That was 5 days ago, and there's no word yet. Ladies and gentlemen, they're scared of making change. If you put Bill Lee in the Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame, you know how much publicity that would get? Be beyond. It would put the Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame on the level not seen before. When Willie O'Ree was first recognized by the Hall of Fame, it led to other people recognize the importance of people of color in the provincial, sport annals. Everett Sanapad, different people. I can count 150 athletes in the Brunswick history that should be in the Hall of Fame. They're in regional Hall of Fames throughout the province. Woodstock, Hamilton, Batters, Moncton, St. John. But why are they not in the Brunswick Sports Hall of Fame? You got to think outside the box. You have to think locally. You got to think regionally, provincially, and nationally. If someone coaches at the national, international, local, provincial level within 10 years, and they're not in a Hall of Fame and each level had great success, what are you doing? Why would you even have a Sports Hall of Fame if you didn't put it all together to cover all the bases? Anything can be done if you can put your mind to it. Just like Bill Lee said, and calling, it all comes down to Don Zimmer being called a gerbil, in my personal opinion. So on this COVID Tuesday, it's around 31 degrees humidity in New Brunswick. That's my, soapbox for today. And if Bill Lee ever listens to this, Bill, call me up in New Brunswick, not hard to find. We'll sit down, I'll buy a coffee, and we'll do a first-person interview for my podcast channel. You're always good press for me. I don't know how many times I think of you when I think of talented, colorful athletes who can back it up with intelligence. Have a good day. Bye.